Hello and welcome to Dark Arts AI, the channel where we delve into the unknown, the unspoken, and the uncanny. Today we're stepping away from the shadows and into the technicolor world of a classic tale, but with our typical twist. We're unmasking the secrets and truths behind The Wizard of Oz. It's a story you thought you knew, but there's more than meets the eye behind those ruby slippers. So, prepare yourselves as we journey down the yellow brick road of The Wizard of Oz's untold stories. The Wizard of Oz, a beloved children's book and later a film, but it's not all rainbows and butterflies, is it? Let's delve deep into the origins of this timeless tale. The Wizard of Oz was penned by L. Frank Baum, a man of many talents. He was a playwright, a journalist, and even dabbled in the world of poultry breeding before he stumbled upon his true calling, writing children's stories. The Wizard of Oz, published in the year 1900, was an instant hit. Now let's take a step back and look at the era in which Baum was creating this magical world. The turn of the century was a time of great change and upheaval in America. The country was transitioning from a largely rural agrarian society to a more urban industrialized one. This shift was not without its conflicts and controversies, many of which found their way into Baum's writings. And here we stumble upon our first horrifying secret, the possibility that The Wizard of Oz was a political allegory. Yes, you heard it right. Some scholars suggest that the book was a commentary on the political and economic issues of the time. The scarecrow represented the American farmer, the Tin Woodman was the dehumanized industrial worker, and the cowardly lion, some say, was a stand-in for politicians of the era. The yellow brick road, it could symbolize the gold standard, a hot-button issue of the time. And the silver shoes, yes, in the original book they were silver, not ruby, might represent the silver standard, championed by the Populist Party to alleviate economic hardship. And Oz? It's suggested that Oz, a measure of gold, might stand for the power and allure of the gold standard itself. Even the wizard, with his illusion of grandeur and power, could be seen as a critique of the politicians who were, in Baum's view, leading the country astray. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. The Wizard of Oz is more than just a tale of magic and fantasy. Beneath its whimsical surface, The Wizard of Oz conceals a web of symbols and metaphors. Let's delve into the depths of this seemingly innocent tale. The characters we've come to know and love each represent a larger entity or idea. The Tin Man, for example, isn't just a man made of tin, pining for a heart. He is a symbol of the industrial workers of the late 19th century, laboring tirelessly in factories, often in dehumanizing conditions. His quest for a heart is a metaphor for the industrial workers' yearning for recognition of their humanity, their need for compassion in the face of relentless industrial progress. The scarecrow, with his wish for a brain, symbolizes the American farmers. These agriculturists, often dismissed as uneducated or simple-minded, were in reality extremely knowledgeable about the land and its ways. The scarecrow's desire for a brain reflects their fight for respect and acknowledgement of their wisdom and their critical role in the country's economy. The cowardly lion shaking in his boots represents none other than William Jennings Bryan. Yes, the same Bryan who was a prominent political figure and a champion of the common man. Bryan was seen as having a big roar, his powerful speeches, but lacking the courage to implement real change, much like our beloved lion. But the symbolism doesn't stop with the characters. The yellow brick road, so inviting and magical, represents the gold standard, the economic policy that tied the value of currency to gold. It's a path that promises wealth and success, but leads only to the illusory wizard, who is nothing more than a fraud. And the silver slippers, not ruby as in the movie, stand for the silver standard, an alternative monetary system proposed by those who felt oppressed by the gold standard. Dorothy's journey home in these shoes suggests the potential for economic salvation through the silver standard. In the world of Oz, nothing is as it seems. Now let's dive deeper into the rabbit hole. What if I told you the Wizard of Oz isn't the benevolent figure you thought he was? Our journey takes us to the heart of the Emerald City, where the wizard, the supposed savior, resides. But is he truly the hero we've been led to believe he is? The Wizard of Oz, as some theorists suggest, could be seen as a representation of manipulative politicians or fraudulent leaders. He operates behind the scenes, hidden behind a curtain of deceit, pulling the strings of the kingdom. He promises to fulfill the desires of Dorothy and her friends, only to reveal that he lacks the power to do so. Isn't this scenario somewhat familiar? Promises made during election campaigns only to be broken once the votes have been cast is a common narrative in our world. And the dark undertones don't stop there. The Wizard of Oz is a world where the murder of a witch is celebrated with singing and dancing. The Munchkins rejoice at the death of the Wicked Witch of the East, struck down by Dorothy's house. This brutal act of violence is glossed over by the jubilation of her death. The witch's life, no matter how wicked, is snuffed out without a second thought, and our heroes are not held accountable. Let's not forget the gruesome end met by the Wicked Witch of the West, melted by a bucket of water. The image of this terrifying death is seared into our minds, yet it is quickly overshadowed by the happiness of Dorothy's victory. The violence is normalized, even celebrated, hiding the horrifying truth beneath a veneer of joy and triumph. So we are left to wonder, is The Wizard of Oz truly a tale of fantasy? Or is it a story that mirrors our reality? A commentary on the dark side of power and the ease with which we accept violence when it benefits us. The Wizard of Oz? A tale of fantasy or a nightmare in disguise? As we peel back the layers of this beloved story, we are left with more questions than answers, and the image of the Emerald City seems a little less bright. The Wizard of Oz has permeated our culture, but how has its dark truths influenced other works? Since its publication at the dawn of the 20th century, The Wizard of Oz has cast a long, intriguing, and sometimes eerie shadow over literature and film. Its themes and symbols have been borrowed, reimagined, and even subverted in countless works of art and entertainment. The story's dark truths have served as a wellspring of inspiration, inviting artists to delve into its depths and re-emerge with new interpretations. One of the most fascinating arenas where the impact of The Wizard of Oz is felt is music. A striking example is the theory that Pink Floyd's seminal album, The Dark Side of the Moon, is a secret soundtrack to the film. This idea, known as the Dark Side of the Rainbow, suggests that if you start playing the album precisely when the MGM lion roars for the third time in the movie's opening, the music eerily syncs with the film. The lyrics and the rhythm often align with the on-screen action and dialogue, creating an uncanny audio-visual experience. While the band members have repeatedly denied any intentional connection, the theory persists, highlighting the pervasive influence of The Wizard of Oz's dark truths on our collective imagination. This crossover between literature, film, and music shows how enduring narratives can transcend their original medium to leave a lasting impact on other art forms. The Wizard of Oz's influence doesn't stop at music. Numerous books, films, and TV shows have drawn from its rich tapestry. From Stephen King's The Dark Tower series, which features a haunting reimagining of the Emerald City, to the TV show Lost, where the character of Ben Linus shares similarities with the wizard himself, the story's legacy is ever present. The Wizard of Oz, a tale woven into the fabric of our culture, carries a dark legacy. Its complex symbols and themes, its exploration of innocence, power, and deceit, continue to resonate, informing and enriching our shared cultural landscape. Our journey down the yellow brick road has been enlightening, hasn't it? We've peeled back the curtains of this beloved tale to reveal layers of meaning that reside beneath its whimsical surface. First, we delved into the dark origins of The Wizard of Oz, unearthing its roots as a political allegory. We discovered how L. Frank Baum's fantastical world was a commentary on the socio-economic climate of his time, with the Scarecrow, Tin Man, and Cowardly Lion symbolizing the American farmer, industrial worker, and politician respectively. Then, we moved on to the symbols that are scattered throughout the book, like the Silver Slippers and the Emerald City, which are not just mere elements of a fantasy world, but representations of the monetary debates of the late 19th century. From there, we explored the dark truth about the wizard himself, a man not of magic but of manipulation, a reflection of the illusion of authority. And finally, we considered the book's profound influence on pop culture. From music to movies, The Wizard of Oz has left an indelible mark, its themes and characters resonating with generation after generation. Thank you for joining us on this journey into the secrets and truths behind The Wizard of Oz. This has been Dark Arts AI, where we uncover the hidden, the forbidden, and the uncanny. Until next time, keep exploring the darkness.